everybody, my name is Duvall, and welcome to my channel, Faithfully Living, where we learn how to study the Bible together. In this video, we are going to be talking about cultural context. This is the third video in a series of videos that we are doing where we're looking at different contexts in which we can view the Bible. Alright, let's get started. What is cultural context? It is looking at the culture in which a biblical passage takes place. The Bible was written at a certain point in history that is different from the place and times in which we live today. So why look at cultural context? Knowing the historical period in which a passage comes from helps us to pinpoint the culture of that time. Living in America, we have a different culture than the one in the Bible. Learning more about how people lived and understand what they knew helps us to better understand what the author assumed that his audience already knew. Dr. John Walton and Dr. Craig Keener helps us to understand why we should look at the cultural context of the Bible. Even though the Bible was written for us, it wasn't written to us. When we take our Western modern culture and impose it on the text, we're putting in meaning that wasn't there, and we're missing the meaning that the text has. Sometimes people get frustrated with the Bible because the difficult figures of speech and the images and the customs they read about seem foreign to them. But when we explain these, then we open up the text of the Bible in a fresh, new way to understand what the text of the Bible is really addressing. Learning the cultural nuances of the Bible helps us to understand the ideas behind the text of the Bible. When you're utilizing the inductive method, knowing the cultural context helps with step 2, which is interpretation, when you're looking at where does this passage fit. There are some questions that you can ask yourself, such as, who is the audience and what circumstances did they find themselves in? What point in history were these people living? What was going on politically, economically, culturally, and religiously at that time? So here are some examples you can look at of the cultures of the Bible. In the region of the ancient Near East, we can look at the Babylonian, Assyrian, Egyptian, and Canaanite cultures when we're looking at the Old Testament. Some cultures in the New Testament, you have the Jewish culture and the Greco-Roman. So let's look at an example of how knowing the culture is helpful to understanding a passage of scripture. We're going to go to Exodus chapter 5 through 12. This is when God sent plagues to the Egyptians when he had sent Moses to ask Pharaoh to let his people go, and Pharaoh refused. So, if you know the culture of the Egyptians, they had a lot of gods and goddesses. So all the plagues that God sent to Egypt demonstrated that God was greater than any of the Egyptian gods and goddesses. So for example, when God turned the water of the Nile into blood, he demonstrated his power over the god Hapi, which was an Egyptian god of the Nile. And then when God made the whole Egyptian land filled with darkness, and he allowed where the Israelites were living to still have daylight. This showed God's power over the god Ra, which was an Egyptian god of the sun. Where do you look to find the cultural context? So resources you can look at could be study Bible, Bible dictionaries. Bible handbooks are also helpful, and sometimes commentaries can also be helpful. These references could help explain what was going on during the time in which that particular verse or passage or Bible story was written. So I hope this video was helpful for you as we went over what cultural context is and how it can be helpful as you're studying the Bible. In the description of this video, I will put some more resources where it deals specifically with understanding the cultural context of the Bible. Thanks for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one.